Hello guys and welcome to my three-layer strategy submission. This is a beginner-friendly strategy and we have a couple of things that we need to talk about, right? I'm going to be submitting also another two strategies, a little bit more advanced, so stay tuned for my other two submissions. You might grab something that you may like on those two ones also. Let's just take a look at what I got here. I'm just using my dynamic reactor and just for fun, kind of highlights, but you don't need them. And then very important, right here on signal mode, reversal only. At this point, I'm going to be moving forward into the next one right down here. This one is, and let me just get rid of this other one. This one is just support and resistance. Let's take a look at that configuration. At this point, you can see that everything is turned off, but trend lines, and then the most important one, support and resistance, mode, local mode at 5, and then multi-time frame 1 daily at midterm also at 5 in there. It's just basically up to how many lines we're going to be getting pair support and resistance measurement. All right, so clicking OK, and then lastly I'm gonna be adding another set of support and resistance in here that are called the liquidity zones, which are these boxes in here, and then these lines are one of my favorite, the predictive ranges, just like they came out of the factory at a 50 calibration, and the time frame is just the chart, basically the one that we're talking about right now. This strategy works the best on the 4 hour, but I have also tested it in the 15 minutes and the 1 hour with big success. Layer 1 is going to be my reversal. This layer is going to be the most important layer, right? It's going to be basically telling me that I already have a trade setup. I'm going to be trying to enter at the reversal candle closure or at the pullback on layer 2. On pullback on layer 3. Layer 2 is going to be my oscillator. On my oscillator, I want to have flip of the ribbon, which is nothing else than the ribbon physically just changing shape, right? Going from top to bottom, and then along with a couple of stuff at the top. You don't need to know, I call them clusters, and there's a set of 4 clusters. But as long as you have at least 3 different things at the top, you're good to go. At this point, I have the OB text, I have a couple of golden boxes, and I also have that little triangle right there that is the reversal signal right there. It's a little bit hidden. It is the red little triangle in there. All right, and finally layer number 3, it is my set of support and resistances, right? This comes along the predictive ranges, the support and resistance, the dynamic reactor, and the trend lines. So whenever I have a reversal setup, I can already have in place my layer 2 and my layer 3, right? I can also have layer 1 and then I'll wait for layer 2 or layer 3. Usually, whenever I have a reversal, I'm already going to have in place layer 2 and layer 3, and most likely I'm going to be entering at layer closure or, candle closure or at retest. I usually like to wait for retest, but that will be up to you what to do. All right, so first of all, I have layer number 1 in here. Let's just remove it. All right, once I have layer number 1, I'm looking for layer number 2. Do I have layer number 2? Yes, I do. I have already flip of the ribbon. I'm having an overbought, and also I'm having a couple of golden boxes here. All right, so an overbought golden boxes. Then what's going to be my layer number 3? Just to take in consideration, since it is the candle closure, it's going to be right at the candle opening on the next candle, or which is the same, candle closure of the current reversal signal, right? So it's going to be right there. In fact, a little bit upper, somewhere around here at candle closure, candle opening. All right. At that point, well, then as I told you guys, I rather wait for the layer number 3, which is support and resistance. All right, to be hit one more time. That usually give me a slightly better entry somewhere around there. But once again, let's go for the worst case scenario, which is going to be at reversal, candle close, next candle open. All right, so I open up the trading here, and then I look for my next taking profit. My first TP is going to be my very first support. It doesn't matter where is it, I want to pay myself as soon as possible. Right here, I'm barely scrapping the 1 risk reward ratio. If I have less than 1 risk reward ratio, look at this here, if I have less or below 1 risk reward ratio, what I'm going to be doing is still jumping in, but only with half of an entry. For me, 1 entry equals 3% of my full wallet. Therefore, half of an entry is going to be a 1.5% of my full wallet. All right. One caveat here that you need to consider, I'm always going to be risking 3 full percent. So what am I going to be placing the other 1.5%? I'm going to place it right at my very next resistance, right? So where's my very next resistance? It's going to be right here at candle top, right? Because we have a previous high. And then that's when I'm going to be placing both my stop loss and my my re-entry in here. So reallocation needed, right? And this has to do with the other half of percent, right? Well then, what else am I going to be doing? Setting my stop loss. I already have decided that my stop loss is going to be at candle, a previous candle. But then what I do is to measure the average size of the previous weeks, right? I don't want to measure the highest or the largest weeks, neither the shortest weeks available, just a little bit in between, right? So the average week size. And I think this one measures kind of like that, the average size. And if I look around, it kind of is the average size. So that's what I'm going to be adding on top of my stop loss, just to compensate for that movement, all right? So that once we have all that in place, I'm going to be reallocating my entry. Here we go, right there. So let's just move it. And then the actual purpose of this is if for any reason the price action goes higher and it hits me my reallocation and then continues downwards, I will be able to average up right here my entry. That way I have a way much better entry if that is the case. If not, well then it will just remain as it is. All right, so now that we understand those two things, let's go and proceed with what's happening right here. So let me just remove this, just get this out of the way. There you go. So right away I have TP number 1. TP number 1, I can then move my stop to entry or wait for TP number 2. I like to wait for TP number 1 and then move my stop to entry. That way, if the price action reverses on me, well then I'm not going to be losing any money, and then I will be already be taking at least TP number 1 or closing my trade, right? Then I aim for a TP number 2 and then at least a trailing session. What's going to be my trailing? The size of my stop loss. So basically when I hit TP number 3 or TP number 2, I'm going to be keep looking at it, and then when I hit the bottom of this measurement, well then I'm going to be waiting for a retracement. Therefore, this is going to be my full taking profits in here. All right, so let's take a look at how it played out. TP number 1 hit, move my stop to entry. TP number 2 hit, so I start trailing. Trailing goes all the way down here, reverses, and then on the reverse, well then I get out at a 3.29 risk reward ratio. We have our first reversal signal. So at this point, we are right at the 0 line. I could be waiting for a flip of the ribbon. This is one of the tricky ones, right? At this point, I can maybe take it or I can let it go. I would try to let it go if I'm just using this strategy. But as you can see, if I have it take that, well then it was a success, as TP number 1 is already being hit right here, and then moving my stop to entry. And as we continue upwards, and we just hold that trade, and let's see how that plays out. Very close for my TP number 2. A little bit of an undecisive. We start having a couple of bearish divergences, but that's fine. Remember, we already have moved our stop to entry, so we have nothing to lose, and we already have taken some profits. TP number 2 have already been taken, moving my stop farther up, and then just waiting for a retracement to close my full trade. Here we go. We have our first reversal hitting here. Remember, I candle close. And at this point, I already have the flip of the ribbon. I could be waiting for the next one to play it out, but I'm going to stay with this one. And also at this point, since you can see right here, I did turn off my support and resistances. So where do I have my support and resistances? Well, I have a blue line here. I have my dynamic reactor. So I usually go with the centroid of whatever the cluster is at. So I'm going to be aiming at the blue line in here for the retest, right? So that's usually what I said. I can enter at the candle close, basically here, or wait for a retest right at the blue line or at the centroid of my support and resistance area. At this point, I'm going to be waiting for the retest to play it out in here and also just to open up that trade. So let's go for the first one. Wait a little bit here, and seems like it wants to go up. Perfect. We just enter the trading here, and at this point I need to set up my stop loss. What have I done before is just look at my previous candle here, and based on that one, set my stop loss, and then add what, remember, a wiggle room based on the size of the previous candles. I have added a little bit more of space above this wick, and that will give me that space that I might need in case this has a little bit too much volatility and then reverses up. Then what else I'm going to be aiming for? I'm going to be aiming for TP number 1, TP number 2, and finally reverse or trailing all the way down here, or TP number 3 or trailing. Let's just see how it plays out. Here we go. We already have hit TP number 1, so taking profits move stop to entry, and then let's aim for TP number 2 and then trailing. There we go. Very quick going back down. Let's wait for the TP number 2 to be hit. It's not there yet. I'm still holding that trade. Let's see if we can make it, and then it takes us out. Remember, we already were at our price stop loss to entry, so TP number 1 hit, and then we get out at no extra loss. Candle close, reversal. Remember our candle closure. There we go, right there. I already have a layer number 1 or 2. Yes, a layer number 2 is already happened. Remember, flip of the ribbon with already a little bit of with a cluster right down here. Then what am I waiting for? I usually wait for the retest of the support. I'm already at the support and I haven't lost it since I did not bounce out of this. So I open up a position right there, and then I'm going to be aiming once again in the middle of my support and resistances. What do I have right now? I have trend line, I have support, and then I have my dynamic reactor. Where do I aim to? At the very center of those 3 areas, right here, right at the resistance level. Let's see what happens there. Perfect. Going through it right now, so I can take TP number 1. I'm already at a reversal area right here, so I can maybe take even TP number 2 if I wish. And then remember, move your stop to entry if you so desire. This is where I've been moving my stop to entry to avoid losses and just holding whatever is left of my position for a possible scenario where I aim for a larger movement here. Let's see how this one plays out. And then look at that. This is the importance of keeping your stop at entry. It went straight back below into the trend line, basically confirming the downtrend, and then by possible continuation to the downside. Let's just continue looking for those reversal signals and see the next trade setup. Perfect. Right here, I think we nailed it right on the candle. We have the candle played out right here, so candle closure. So we're looking at this area right here. We already have flip of the ribbon with a cluster on top. Remember what I always tell you guys, when I have a resistance, I usually wait for either a pullback to re-enter or a candle closure. So at this point, I decided to enter at candle closure, but if not, I will be just waiting for a next hit at these areas up here. So let's see how it plays out, and also where do I place my stop loss. It's going to be at my first next resistance, and at this point looking for my next TP. My TP1 is going to be right here at my first support. Let's just measure this one right here, and as you can see, my risk reward ratio is at 1.35. Therefore, there is no need to reallocate or divide my entry since it is above 1. Despite that, this is a big stop loss, but I'm still within my risk reward ratio established. Another thing, remember, my next possible support is going to be right here. And finally, trailing stop and also TP number 3 right down here. Let's see how that one plays out. Perfect, TP number 1 hit, moving my stop to entry right now, and then aiming for TP number 2. TP number 2, it was already hit, so therefore we're going for TP number 3. So let's see if that one plays out and we get hit. Perfect, we get hit TP number 3, and then we're going for retracement or trailing. So basically, remember what we have agreed on. It is using my previous stop loss to do a retracement or a trailing session in here. I'm already hit and passed through it, so I'm going to be moving it. And as I retrace, this is going to be the area exactly where I get out of my trade. Very nice trade right there. So let's see that we have another reversal signal right away, very rapid firing. And what am I going to be doing? Once again, do I have flip of the ribbon? Well, it doesn't seem to be just like previous flips of the ribbon, right? I mean, I could even say that my flip of the ribbon is non-existent. But let's just, for the sake of this example, take this trade. Despite the flip of the ribbon is not clear, I do have a couple of things in here. So clusters, so let's just assume that it is there. And layer number 3, is it already in? Well then, let's just take a look at, yes, it is already in right here. So I'm gonna be entering at candle closure and see if that one plays out. Remember, previous candle at my wiggle room, and then aiming for TP number 1 and TP number 2. Let's see if we can get any of those. All right, it went moving straight downwards. So the first hit of the night right here. So we from all of the trades that we have taken, this is the first one that has failed. So not bad at all, right? So let's go and look for our next trade setup. Seems like we did not got all the way up there, but let's just keep watching. Now we have a reversal, right? So that reversal, let's see if we have layer number 1, which is reversal. Of course, we got it, right? Remember, it kind of closure. Then we already have flip of the ribbon. We have also a cluster up here. And then we're going to be taking our dynamic reactor as they're already being hit. So I can either wait for a retest, right? Or going right at the candle closure. Let's go for the candle closure. Here we go. TP number 1 already being hit, and then you can also aim for TP number 2. At this point, if it's to close your entry point at your stop loss, well then you can either move your stop to entry or wait for a next point. At this point, if you get out of this trade and lost, maybe with a little bit of luck, since you already have taken 50% out, well then you'll be getting out at not lost, at zero lost, even if you get hit in your take on your stop loss area right up. Remember, we're waiting for a reversal. There we go. We have a reversal. We already have a flip of the ribbon, or we're looking at a possible flip of the ribbon. Once again, it is not completely there yet, but we do have some reversal signals here, some clusters. Do we have already layer number 2 or 3? Yes, we got it right here. So we can either enter at candle close or we can enter at re-entry points. I'm just going to go for the worst case scenario, which is candle close, and see how that plays out. There we go. So far, this is the present time. We already have taken TP number 1 right here, and then we're aiming for a possible next movement, which is going to be our either TP number 2, or if you decided to move your stop to entry, well, then we're out right now of this one. So far, this is to be continued. This is the present time, and there are no more candles to test it onto. Remember, if you want to try this strategy, pick a random time, add this rules to your setup, and then practice a little bit before engaging with this strategy. Without further ado, guys, hopefully you have a great trading day, and I wish you the best time. And as always, see you guys tomorrow.